For most of human history, we were not alone. At least 8 other human species once walked this planet alongside us. Neanderthals in Europe, the tiny hobbit species Homo floresiensis in Indonesia, the mysterious Denisovans in Siberia, Homo erectus, who survived for nearly 2 million years, longer than we have even existed. And one by one, every single one of them disappeared. Except us. Why? This isn't a fringe theory. Paleoanthropologists studying fossil sites across Europe, Asia, and Africa have been piecing this puzzle together for decades, and the honest answer is, we're still not entirely sure. But we have some very compelling clues, and they're strange enough to make you question what actually makes humans special in the first place. Let's start with the most famous case, Neanderthals. For a long time, popular culture painted them as dumb, hunched-over brutes. That picture is now considered outdated. Neanderthals had brains as large as ours, in some cases slightly larger. They made tools, controlled fire, buried their dead, and there's now solid genetic evidence they interbred with our ancestors. If you have European or Asian ancestry, you likely carry 1 to 4% Neanderthal DNA right now in your own genome. They didn't fully vanish. They were absorbed into us. So if they were smart, tool-using, fire-controlling, occasionally interbreeding relatives, why are they gone and we're not? One leading theory centers on group size and social networks. Sites excavated across Europe suggest Neanderthal groups were small and relatively isolated, often just a few dozen individuals. Homo sapiens, on the other hand, appear to have maintained wider social and trade networks, exchanging tools, materials, and likely ideas across much greater distances. Some researchers argue that this gave us a critical advantage. When a local group failed, ours had backup. Innovations could spread. Theirs may have stayed trapped in small pockets, vulnerable to a single bad season, wiping out an entire population's accumulated knowledge. Then there's Homo floresiensis, nicknamed the Hobbit, after its discovery on the Indonesian island of Flores in 2003. Standing barely over 3 feet tall, this species survived in isolation for tens of thousands of years, evolving its small size in a phenomenon called island dwarfism, likely to survive on limited food resources. It disappeared roughly 50,000 years ago, right around the time modern humans are believed to have reached the region. Coincidence? Possibly. But it's a pattern that repeats almost every single time our species arrives somewhere new. That pattern shows up again with the Denisovans, a human species we didn't even know existed until 2010, identified almost entirely from a single finger bone and a few teeth found in a Siberian cave. We still don't fully know what they looked like, but we know they interbred with us too, and that some populations in Papua New Guinea and Australia carry up to 6% Denisovan DNA today, likely genes related to immune response and adaptation to high altitude. So here's the pattern across every single one of these species. Wherever Homo sapiens expanded, other human species declined shortly after, sometimes within a few thousand years, sometimes faster. That timing is too consistent across too many separate species, on too many separate continents, to easily write off as coincidence. This leads to the theory that actually makes people uncomfortable. Maybe we didn't simply outsmart the other human species. Maybe, in at least some regions, we outcompeted them for resources so effectively that we drove them to extinction, whether through direct conflict, disease we carried, or slowly displacing them from hunting grounds and territory they depended on. We may be the first, and so far only, human species not because we were destined for it, but because every other version of human that could have challenged us for that position is no longer here to tell their side of the story. And that's the forgotten truth. Being the last human species standing was never a guarantee. It might not even be a triumph. For most of our history, we shared this planet with other kinds of humans, and within a relatively short window, every single one of them was gone. The next time you look in a mirror, remember, you're not looking at the only possible outcome of human evolution. You're looking at the one branch that happened to survive, while at least 8 others didn't. Would you have made it if you were one of them?